approve the agenda as presented. I have a motion and 2 supports. Mark and Lee, yes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda, we have one addition to the claims and audit, and that's for pollution liability insurance for $618. Do you have anything to add, Lee?
Yes. I want to add to the claims and audits under the consent agenda an invoice for $618 payable to Invisure Incorporated pollution liability renewal for the airport total claims and audit of $69,781.37.
Anything that anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support. I have a motion by Christenberry, supported by Berner. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, roll call.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kishner?
Yes.
Commissioner Garner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Greiner?
Yes.
Moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment today on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the first order of business. The first appointment is Ms. Diane Mills from
Amoresco.
Amoresco. All right. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you for having me. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm sorry if I have my back to you. Thank you for having me. My name is Diane Mills, and I'm with Amoresco. And I'm here today to talk to you about energy savings performance contracting. Thank you. It's a way that communities can fund building improvement, energy efficiency improvements, and add renewable energy, including electrical vehicle charging stations, and use the energy savings to pay for the work. This way, you don't have to go to the community to seek new funding to fund building improvements. I was introduced to Oscoda a couple of months ago at a Michigan Association of Counties conference where I spoke about performance contracting and specifically a project that we worked on just at your neighbors, Alpena County. We finished up a performance contract with them just about 9 months ago, and we made several building improvements to all of their buildings, including their courthouse, which is a historical site, their pool, Northern Lights Arena, which is an ice rink, the county fairgrounds. We just did a lot of work that needed to be done and a lot of deferred maintenance that was kind of building up, and the county needed a way to fund it, so they worked with us to do the project. So this morning, I'd like to kind of just go through that process with you. In your board packet was a white paper on energy savings performance contracting, which I think gives a really nice overview. If any of your community members would like that white paper, please feel free to share that with them. So basically, the way that performance contracting starts is you take a look at what are the needs in your local community. Obviously, it's a given if you can reduce energy expenses, you'd like to do that. Then we go through and audit your buildings and take a look at what facilities are aging and what infrastructure needs improvement. It could be anything from roofs to windows, doors, weather stripping, lighting, HVAC equipment, air handlers, water conservation. Basically, take a look at the entire facilities throughout the county to take a look at what work needs to be done. Amoresco doesn't sell any products, and if we can, we recommission or upgrade equipment rather than replacing it. If it does need to be replaced, then we can bid out the work for you to make sure that you're getting competitive pricing on equipment. But really the goal is to not only improve the facilities, but also then to reduce your operational and maintenance costs, and that includes energy. If you're looking at implementing renewable energy, we can take a look at that. In the city of Battle Creek, for example, they have an outdoor pool that we're heating with solar, which we've installed up on the roof. And basically just look at ways to squeeze any wasted energy consumption out of the county, so that then you can reuse those dollars to fund the improvements, as well as contribute back to your operational budget. We also do on any of the reporting that would be included with that. If you'd like to get Energy Star recognition, if you'd like us to track to see if any of the buildings are qualified for LEED, we do file all of the utility incentives. Oftentimes you get about 10% of your project back in rebates from the utility companies. Performance contracting has been around since the 70s, and the federal government uses performance contracting extensively, and state and local governments use it. In the last 5 years, we've finished up probably, I'd say, somewhere between 10 and 12 projects in communities throughout Michigan. These include cities, counties, schools, colleges. We've done, let's see, a few private projects as well. But basically, what we do is we go through and we analyze your facilities to see exactly how we can reduce consumption. And then we calculate that. We actually take calculations, for example, if you were to tighten up your building envelope. We'll go through and figure out, gee, that'll probably save you 40%. We actually run through all the engineering equations. New lighting might save you 15%. A new HVAC system and controls might save you 14%. So then we go and we add up all of those savings, and typically they range somewhere between 20 to 30% of your energy bill, which can be pretty significant. You know, if you're spending, let's say, $200,000 a year on energy, and we can save you 25%, that's basically $50,000 a year over 10 years.
That's big money.
That is big money. And so you can see why communities like to approach a project this way. In addition, it's just great for the environment and great for the economy. It's good for the environment because you're reducing your carbon footprint, and we can track that for you. You can post that on your website if you want, and hang plaques about being Energy Star to basically demonstrate to the community of being good stewards of the environment. But it's also being good steward of the finances. You know, basically not having to go and ask for new money, but economizing and squeezing that waste out to fund the work makes a lot of sense. About half of the project, it goes back to local labor. We use all local labor. Within Alpena County, we used Weinkauf and Thunder Bay Electric. You know, people that live in the community and work in the community, and basically use these projects to support local jobs. Why would you take on a new initiative? I'm sure your trustees have lots going on and lots to do. One of the reasons why to take on this new initiative is because it is cash neutral. You know, it's a way that you can get this work done. In addition, it's a way where you can bring in someone like Amoresco that's really focused exclusively on energy efficiency and building improvements. That's all that we do. Amoresco has done about $5 billion worth of energy projects throughout North America. We've got about 900 employees, and all of them are focused on energy efficiency and renewable energy. I have an engineering degree and an energy background. I'm also certified in energy, and all of our engineers are certified for whatever particular job they happen to be doing. But the biggest thing with these projects is it's a turnkey approach. You know, we'll come in and we do the auditing, we do all of the project design and development, we bid the project out to make sure we're getting good prices on the equipment. We do all the construction management, we do all the energy calculations, we do the commissioning, and then we guarantee those results. Up in Alpena County, we were able to save them just over $100,000 a year, which is, I think, $102,000, and those energy savings are actually guaranteed. So that means if for some reason you're not achieving those energy savings, we'll write you a check for the difference to basically cover the cost of the project. We have not yet had to write a check, and typically what we would do is probably fix the situation so that it wouldn't be reoccurring. But we tend to be really good at what we do, and we are conservative on providing you that guarantee, so we want to make sure that we exceed it. The way that this is different, is that clear? That's not exactly. There we go. The way that this is different than other construction projects that you might work on is, I mentioned on the last slide, it's turnkey. To the right side, you'll see Amoresco's approach, where basically you're subcontracting us to manage all aspects of the project. You still have control of it. You can review the invoices. You can work with us to identify which subcontractors we would want to bid this out to, help us develop the process that we would use to award the work. But basically, it's one-stop shopping. We basically do all the legwork in terms of pulling all that information together and providing it to you in a format with which then you can make decisions. Typically on construction projects, you'd go out and maybe hire an engineering firm first to do a feasibility study. Maybe then you'd hire an architect and a general contractor. You might have a construction manager. And so, there isn't one single point of interfacing. But we find with performance contracting that having that one person be responsible for everything is a great use of your resources, because basically we're working for you as you're subcontracting the whole project out. Any questions so far? I talked a little bit about our leadership position. We are actually, there's an accreditation organization called the National Association of Energy Service Companies. We are actually accredited, so all of our processes and our financials have been vetted out, so you can be assured Amoresco has the staying power to not only deliver your project, but to continue to deliver those energy savings throughout the course of the project, which could be 10 or 15 years, which we guarantee that. We do a lot of work for the U.S. Department of Energy. In fact, we were ranked #1 in terms of all the Oscos that do work for the Department of Energy. We've done a lot of marquee projects. We've done, in Washington, D.C., we've done the White House and the Capitol. We've done quite a few naval bases, the National Archives. We've done tons of historical buildings. We tend to mostly do business and work on public buildings, and the reason being is those buildings tend to have the same use year after year after year after year, and so it makes sense to squeeze every bit of energy out of them. We've gotten a lot of recognition. Three of our projects in Michigan were recognized by the Michigan Economic Development Corp. Alpena was one of them. They won the award last year for leadership in energy efficiency. The year before, Mount Comb Community College won it. They're in Sydney, Michigan. And then the year before that, Farwell area schools won it. Farwell is just west of Clare. So our projects continue to be recognized also within the state. So how it works, basically energy performance contracting is broken up into about 3 different steps. The first step is where we do a feasibility study. We do what's called a preliminary audit, where we get all of your utility bills for the last, I like to get 2 years. Last year was such a harsh year that it's nice to combine it with the year before. What we do is put those into our database and then compare your buildings with other similarly used buildings in similar weather climates to see about where you're stack ranked in those buildings. You know, it gives us an idea of just theoretically how much money we think we should be able to save you in energy. We do a needs analysis where we talk with your facility folks and the commissioners and the staff to find out, you know, do you have equipment that's loud and bugging you, and, you know, are there other comfort issues or deferred maintenance? And then we do a preliminary walkthrough where we visually inspect the buildings and the equipment to get an idea of where we think we could get the energy savings from. And basically develop a preliminary list of ECMs, that's the buzzword in our, or acronym in our industry. It stands for Energy Conservation Measures. And basically we review those and put those in a feasibility study and present it to the board, and then the board then could make a decision to move forward, knowing about what the size of the project would be, and before making a commitment. Before having any financial commitment, there's no fee up until this point. So it's a pretty low risk way to get a first-hand look at what kinds of opportunities. When we did this through Alpena County, I pulled the slide from theirs, basically to give you an idea what the list might look like. At Alpena County, we figured we could save right around 25% of energy savings. I think we came in at about 29% in the end. Reduced operational maintenance expenses. They had some service agreements and a lot of repair bills for repairing just old equipment that needed to be upgraded. In the courthouse, they had noisy and malfunctioning rooftop units. Whenever they were in court, they'd have to turn off the air so that they could hear, and then after a while it got really warm. So we fixed that problem for them. They wanted an energy management system that had remote access and email alerts. Wes Wilder, who's their facilities staff, manages buildings all throughout the city, and by giving him remote access, it was a way where he could kind of troubleshoot what the problem was so that he would know what to pack up before he hand over. He also could get a better idea of how much of a priority it was in terms of other things that he needed to get done on a day-to-day basis. We found quite a bit of equipment that was past its useful life and near failure. They wanted county-wide lighting upgrades, weatherization and building envelope, and then their goal was to fund all of the improvements with energy savings. Our projects, once we develop a project, it's a fixed price project. So there's two ways that communities implement projects. One is where they come up with no new cash, they use only energy savings. Another model would be as we squeeze as much of the energy savings as we can, but maybe they have some big projects they know that won't be covered with energy savings, or maybe they want to contribute some money to add a renewable energy, or maybe a major building needs a new roof, and they have money budgeted for that. It's a way then to take that money that is currently budgeted, but then really leverage it so you can do work throughout the county and avoid having to get as much in capital as possible. So sometimes they're cash neutral, meaning no cash required. Sometimes the county might decide it would like to put in some cash to take care of some other items that might not otherwise be included. Is that clear? Okay. So after the feasibility study, we have a pretty good idea of what the project is probably going to look like. Then what we would do is ask you to sign either a letter of intent or an audit agreement. And the second phase is called the technical audit. And that's where we go in and we design the project in complete detail. At the end of that project, you have a fixed price. We've done all the bidding. We've done all the energy calculations. We've put together all the financial parameters. evaluated what all of the maintenance and operational savings are, and have researched the utility rebate. So, basically it's your project, what it's going to look like. And what's nice about this technical audit is, unlike other construction projects, is we're on the hook for that price. If we run over, we have to eat it. And so, again, it lowers your risk in terms of what is really your financial exposure in this project. With Oscoda, you know exactly what it is. So, once the audit is complete, we put it in a document, we provide it to the board to vote on, and should they move forward, we're then ready to move into construction right away. So we provide all the construction management, the project administration, we get all the permits, we do all the commissioning and the M&B. We put together a maintenance plan and review with your staff what the maintenance should be. We provide all the training, the manuals, and then, as I mentioned, we do ongoing measurement and verification throughout the term of the project, which is usually somewhere between 10 to 12 years. Once the project is completed, we don't leave until you sign an acceptance letter and give us a letter of recommendation, and you retain a certain amount of the project dollars until you're ready to sign off on it, and then we'll get that last payment. And at that point, then, the clock starts ticking for the guarantee. In terms of timing, typically it takes us, about 2 to 4 weeks to do the feasibility study. Usually the biggest challenge is collecting all the utility bills, believe it or not. We can get them electronically from the utilities. Sometimes it takes us 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it's easier just to come over and hand copy your bills. But then once we have the feasibility study, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do the technical audit, where we actually develop and design the project. And then the construction period typically ranges anywhere from 6 to 12 months for a typical county project. And any questions? I think my time is just about up. Some of the benefits, whoa, time's up. I don't know what happened, but some of the benefits really are, first of all, is you're really squeezing waste out of your budget. Not just energy waste, but also operational and maintenance savings. The second thing is it's a great way to bring your buildings up to speed and make sure they truly are energy efficient and role model to the community, being good stewards of the environment. This turnkey approach is a wonderful way to leverage resources so that your staff is not strapped in managing a large construction project. And also having one-stop shopping gives one person the responsibility for making sure the project is a success. We'd love to work with you. Are there any questions?
When you said there was 2 ways to fund, you said we could use the energy savings, or there would be some county cash brought in. Now, just for, simple language, say the project was going to cost $100, save us $50.
Right.
Then what do we add for your cost? I mean, you guys aren't doing this for nothing.
No, you're right.
So what would be a figure that you add into that $50?
Basically what we do is we have standard markups that we use, and so there's a percentage for engineering, a percentage for the construction management, and a percentage for the measurement and verification. And
are those fluctuating figures, or?
We pretty much use the same figures for every project, but we use that then as a basis to give you the fixed price project. So, basically everything then is a markup after the equipment and the material costs.
Okay.
So
that's when we get our total cost.
That total cost includes all of our fees for engineering and doing the construction management. It also includes the cost of financing. If we need to go out and fund either through a bank or through a bond, it also funds the cost of borrowing money.
So if I followed this correctly, we're talking about basically a 12-month procedure before we get any kind of results back from you. I mean, you're talking 6 to 8 weeks for the technical audit. Overall, by the time we institute this program, and you indicated it was a 10 to 12 year payback, or 10 to 12 year for completion?
Well, let me explain that. Your numbers are right. Though it takes about, I'd say, a year to complete a construction project, but that doesn't mean you don't start to see the benefit right away. For example, lighting typically gives us about a 15% energy savings. Oftentimes we'll come in and do that first. So, almost as soon as we can get that equipment on order and installed, then you start seeing the energy savings on that. So you'll achieve those savings, and right, as soon as that installation occurs. But I say that it takes about a year to complete the whole project because we're on a hook for everything, so we want to make sure that everything is working together. Oftentimes in buildings you'll find the heating and the cooling are fighting with each other, for example. And so our engineers will go in and do that commissioning and make sure everything's done, make sure everything on the punch list is done. And so before we leave, we have you sign an acceptance and to make sure everything is running properly. When I say we're here then for the duration of the project, we continue to monitor the equipment's performance. We continue to monitor your utility bills to make sure you're getting the energy savings that we told you would. We guarantee them. And so we provide that ongoing support through the M&V measurement and verification. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can you give me a rough idea of what cost Alpena for this program?
Yeah, it's right on this sheet.
Well,
And
I've seen it there.
it says energy project size $1,644,911, and the annual savings that are guaranteed are $102,912. What I will say is we typically are very conservative on the guarantee. I wouldn't be surprised if you achieved, an additional 10 or 20% savings, then that would really just be going back to the county.
So that's why you're saying it's like a 10 to 12 year.
Mm-hmm. What we do is we go in and finance the project, so you would use part of your savings then to pay the finance for the project.
And that was the total project, $1,644,911.
Yeah. I think we had, we don't typically do change orders unless we get into the project and maybe they want to add something. And I think they decided they wanted to add something in the ice arena, so it was their choice. They had one change order. I think it was for some variable frequency drives, and it was a lot of things we can absorb into the project. We do allow some contingency funds because when you're doing existing building retrofits, you never really know what you're going to get into, and we do our best to spec it out, but we leave ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. So often at the end of a project, if we haven't used that contingency, we can throw in extra things. So when you check our references, you'll find that's one of the reasons why people are so happy with Oscoda. We're just conservative and we deliver. We have a 100% client satisfaction rating. Another school we did, not too far from here, MESA, it's just near Traverse City. We finished up that project December, January timeframe.
Very good. Thank you very much, Diane. We certainly appreciate it. And we will review this information, talk it over. And
Who should I follow up with?
that would be me or
Okay.
Brenda.
Okay.
Do you have any business cards?
I do. Oh, you do? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Bill, you're the under new business. Would you like to, wherever you want to go, either there, right where you're at, or however.
I'll stop. No way you can hear me better. Good morning.
Good morning.
I actually have two things here today. One is regards to the excess land sale proceeds report, and another is a motion that I'd like the board to make today on the Bankhead Jones Farm Tenant Act.
Right.
Starting with the excess land proceeds. Beginning in 2008, I'm to report to the county commissioners excess land proceeds from our tax auctions 2 years after the foreclosure of those properties. You have in front of you a report. I think I probably gave you page 1. Do you have more than one page on that?
3.
Okay. You can see there on the front page the amount that is in that fund that is available for you to move at this time, if needed, to the general fund. My request would be if the board would leave about 50% in there for unknown contingent liabilities that could arise. One of them being this year at tax auction, I have about 30 parcels. About half of those are Garland properties that I don't expect to sell at the first auction, so they may at the second auction for basically next to nothing. Therefore, if we do not receive enough money to pay back the delinquent taxes that are due on these properties going to auction, I can use some of these excess proceeds from prior years to make the delinquent tax fund whole and not have to do chargebacks to the townships and the schools that can get very costly because those chargebacks, the law says I have to charge back 1% per month back to the date that they became delinquent. So you're looking at least 30 months worth. So we have the proceeds in there to cover that. That saves everybody a little money. And also next year I know I have less than $900 going to this fund. We basically broke even. So it's nice to have a little reserve in there just for these unknowns. But on that report, that is the money that's available if the commissioners do need it to move to the general fund. Yes. Is there any questions on that? Need anything more?
What is the DTRF?
Delinquent Tax Revolving Fund. That is what I pay all the delinquent taxes out of when I buy them. I came to you a few months ago to let you know the $1.5 million that we paid out, roughly 1.4, to buy all the delinquent 2013 taxes. Comes out of that fund. This is a restricted account within that fund.
You need 50%.
Well,
You'd like 50%.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Just, you don't know. If I have $30,000 or $40,000 worth of taxes that I need to recoup at this year's auction, and I sell $10,000 worth, that's $20,000 or $30,000 I didn't get.
Yeah.
If I charge that back to the townships and the schools for their share at 30% interest, that's a hardship on them. If I have excess money in here that wasn't taken, we can pay off those back taxes, make our DTRF whole, and not charge back the other entities. So to me, that's a win-win for everybody, as long as the money is here. You may have years where you don't make any money, so it's nice to have a reserve in there in case something like that does come up.
So if we were to transfer like 50 and leave 52 in there, you would be happy?
That would be fabulous.
Do we want to make him happy?
Let's do it. I'll make a motion. We need one. Do we need a motion on this?
Only if you want to move any money out of it. This is just a report for you folks to review. If during the course of this year you feel you want to move that money out, whether it's to use to balance the general fund, to put towards a civic project, whether it's because child care is out of control, this money is available for you to move. So,
At the present time, it's still in this fund, though.
correct.
So if we don't do anything,
It would remain there until such time as you made a motion to
then you'd
move
be
them.
really happy.
Oh, yes.
We're not gonna go that far. But we're not going to act on it today.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next.
Second thing I have is the Bankhead Jones Farm Tenant Act of 1937. I'm asking the board if they would make a motion to appropriate those funds. They go to the schools and the townships. We've broken this down, went back about 20 years. It's been this way for 20 years. These breakdowns are based on the federal lands that are within those school districts and those townships. That's how we come up with these percentages. Bankhead Jones Farm Tenant Act is mainly revenues derived from mineral receipts collected by the Office of Natural Resource Receipts, formerly known as the Mineral Management Department of the federal government, and grazing receipts from the Federal Forest Service. Those monies then go through a formula, and then part of that gets distributed back to the counties in which those federal lands are held. This year we got just over $5,900, so it's not a huge amount of money, but it is something that helps the townships and the schools. And so I would just ask the commissioners to make that motion to distribute that according to these percentages.
4705, 4705, and 5.9.
To the townships, and the townships receive 25% of the $5,900. The schools receive 75%. So out of the 25% the townships receive, I would like 47% to go to one township, 47 to the other, and 509, or I'm sorry, it should be 5.9 to Cummins Township.
Right.
That's based on the number of acreage of forest land that these monies are paid on within their jurisdiction. Then with the schools, my Oscoda would receive 94.1% and Fairview 5.9.
Call for a motion on that?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to direct the county treasurer to redistribute Bankhead Jones federal forest funds received per Public Act 182 of 1990, MCL 141.1302, in the ratio of 75% to local school districts for school purposes and 25% to townships for improvements to county roads within those townships in which national forests are situated.
A motion by Grantner, supported by Christenberry. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Actually,
You want roll
need a
call?
please.
Yeah, roll call.
Commissioner Kishnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Warner?
Yes.
Commissioner Christenberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Grantner?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That is all.
Sir? Okay. Correspondence. Does anyone have any correspondence that they'd like to relate?
I have, and some of these were on the table. The airport is having a fly-in. It's going to be July the 12th. And food is going to be available from 10 in the morning till dark. So stop in and see the planes and fly in also.
And I've got one over here for the music at the Steinert Museum, June 28, 2014, 1 to 4, live music, fun, surprises, free admission, donations acceptable. If anybody's interested in going, it's this Saturday. And the Mile 569 Masons having their 8th annual car show. They're looking for people to sign up. I hope Bob makes it this year. You don't look like he's going to, does he? Anybody's interested, they're still got applications for people to sign up and stuff. That'll be, I think it's $10, $15 per car. They're having some prizes and all that. That'll be Saturday, July 19th, 9 to 3 at the Mile Flea Market.
Saturday, July 19th?
July 12th, 9 to 3.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Committee reports. Mr. Berner. Dear Slayer.
Okay. On June the 4th, at a park board meeting, there's a couple new trees that have been planted with monuments around it. Budget is not looking too good right at this time, and they may hire a new park member to our board. Then I had a VA meeting and went over this report. Month of May, we had a lot of vets come in. There was 41 in the office. There was 14 messages on the phone. Had several claims and submitted reviews, 22. County Veterans Relief Fund. They had 2 outsourced emergency relief. They had 2 there also. And they had, let's see, they're trying to install a new panic button, which is not working properly right yet. And they have transported several vets to different locations last month. And then Monday, I was at the Oscoda County Human Service Coordination Council. Lydia Gates, they've given a lot of donations. They are now adding a new bathroom, and things are going good. Achievement gave what was her name? I can't think of her name, but Michigan Achieves. They got a grant for $2,600, I think, for a new router out there at Michigan's thing there. And then today I had an EDA meeting. There's several events that are going to be going on at the Skyline. And this route you said from M33 from the bridge up, they've got this going to be on a map, and it's going to show the route from I-75, exit 202. You start on 33 and you go all the way up to mapping on the Revolution Wagon here. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Bob. Larry?
6-6, Veterans Board that Bob reported on. 6-11, we had an EDC meeting. It was short. Mike Smith was busy running around transporting people, so he couldn't make it. So we just went over some stuff briefly. 6-12, Jack and I both attended the MAC Regional Summit. It was a pretty good summit, very informational. I don't want to go through it all, take all day. 6-17, 6-18, 6-19, we sat in the community center. Jack, Mark, and I went over we did the 300 class for emergency management. 6-19, we had a Steiner Board Museum meeting. Mary DeMott is going to be retiring. She does the Chronicle. It's all volunteer. She'll be done the end of this year. We're looking for somebody that might want to take over the Chronicle magazine. And also somebody that might want to deliver, because the guy that delivers is retiring. He's way up in age. He's in the 70s. So Mary's she's sold some children's books, and she's going to go around and sign books and stuff. So she's getting done. 6-20, claims and audit. And that's it.
Thank you, Larry. On June 11th, the Oscoda County Connect meeting, Steve Goldman was the speaker from the U.S. Forest Service. Gave a brief overview of what is happening this year and plans for the summer season. Very good meeting. Enjoyed it. Thank you, Bob. 6-12, MAC Regional meeting. I already told you about that. Basically, the future of transportation funding as we know it. And now that the Senate has adjourned for the summer, nothing happened. So the transportation bills that are in the Senate right now are probably not going to happen until fall. So that'll make Ron Bruner real happy. Disaster relief also was part of the program. Lieutenant Bill Elliott, District Coordinator for the Emergency Management and Homeland Security, Michigan State Police, gave a presentation. And then there was tax capture districts. Bill, we don't have any tax capture districts.
We do not.
So those things kind of go right over my head when they start talking about them, but I understand there are major problems in some areas where, like downtown development authorities come in and attach some of the tax dollars and take it out of the general fund and put it into these districts. So fortunately, we don't have that particular problem. However, it's always good to keep up on those things. Larry already told you, 6, 17, 18, and 19, we did the IC 300 class. Any of you who've taken that class, you know what we went through. Dwayne Roddy was there. We had a good contingency. And I guess what I'll say is I'm glad it's over. And on 6/16, Northern Counties Association presentation by the Farm Bureau regarding migrant workers, which I found to be very interesting. One statement he made that I had no idea, and that is if my son leaves the farm and goes to Michigan State and establishes residency and wants to come back and work on the farm, he is considered a migrant worker. Now, does that make sense to you? It didn't to me, but that is part of the rules and regulations that the farm community, especially the people over in Leelanau County and Traverse County and Emmett County are dealing with, is they cannot get the migrant workers to work in their fields, and that is a major problem for them, which I thought was real interesting. And if anybody ever has the opportunity to, unfortunately I didn't write his name down, hear this gentleman from the Farm Bureau, he was great. He did a fantastic job, and I came away with a lot of questions. Unfortunately, I had to leave the meeting early and couldn't sit down and talk to him. 6/20 was landfill claims and accounts. Because of the training session, I missed one meeting, the NEMCOG meeting. However, that's the Northeast Michigan Council of Governments. However, I got home and found a PowerPoint presentation on my email, so I missed the meeting, but I didn't miss the program. And it was a program by the MEDC regarding the personal property tax and use tax issue that's on the ballot. And NEMCOG and, of course, the MEDC are promoting the positive vote for this issue on the ballot. And yes, it is on the ballot. I filled my ballot out this morning, and it will be returned to the township. So anyone living in Greenwood Township, for sure, you will be getting your ballot if you are an absentee voter. This particular program they are promoting as a very good move for small business. That's it.
On June the 11th, Jerry, Bill, and Larry and I met with Jim Anderson, the auditor, and went over part of the audit. He'll be presenting us with the final report on that audit when he gets all the figures. June the 15th, we had a planning commission meeting over in Mentor Township. There was quite a bit of discussion regarding the airport, the new millages. On June the 20th, I had claims and audit, and just yesterday I went to the health department meeting, and there was not a quorum, so we could not approve any motions. Denise Bryant, the health officer, still gave her reports regarding the new Head Start. They're planning on having a 3-year lease with them starting July 14th. And they're planning on having lead testing for eligible WIC children. She gave a update on the XP software system. They went under their budget by $1,846, so she was quite proud of that. They have an oral health preventive program starting the fluoride treatments. July the 14th, Mark, there's a water supply meeting. Dr. Bush was not even there. Doug Getty reported on the unsafe fish in the rivers and some of the lakes, and they had bathing and beach sampling also, and that's it.
Thank you. Mark? Okay, at 6/16 I was at the library meeting. They're still deciding on some of the carpet. They went over some job descriptions, discussion about service animals in the library, and discussion about the smoking area around, or where they're going to put it around the library. And again, you went over the ICS 300 class, And then, I did miss the district health meeting. I was at the doctor's.
That's it. Thank you very much. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Yes, Tom.
Concerning the county park, as you may know, Clinton Township has just got grant money to fund the park campground. I'd be interested to know how bad the county budget is as far as the park goes here, so that information can be relayed to the township board in Clinton Township. If an existing park is in trouble financially, as a resident of Clinton Township and Oscoda County, I would like to have information on that and see why it is in trouble, see how far it is in trouble, and so those numbers can be known, and then action taken beyond that point.
What we could do is give you a copy of the budget and where they're at to date. And I think Dan is scheduled to come in the not too far distant future, is he not, to give a report?
It's down the road. Their next meeting's not even to August, so I don't foresee them coming in until after August. As far as the budget goes, the finance committee possibly can schedule a meeting to meet with them. That was one of the suggestions. But I can provide a copy. That's what you like, as of today, or.
Would that be sufficient for now?
For now,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You want to set that meeting?
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Yeah, yesterday between 2 and 2:30, animal control officer pulled into the Fairview Food Market. I guess my question, was he on the clock or not? He was there 20 minutes. His family came. You know, he's driving the county truck. So it just, just a concerned citizen, I just thought, well, I'll see what's going on. So I stayed, and he, you know, the whole deal was 20 minutes, and I don't know if he's on the clock or not, or is this allowable, you know, or a misuse of our county funds. But it
You're
raised
asking us a question we can't answer.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just.
However, we will check into
Yeah.
it. And
Thank you.
I thank you for your comment.
What day and time was that?
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
2:30. It's entirely possible he was there on an animal call. We don't know. I mean, I'm going to give
Yeah,
him the benefit of the doubt.
it didn't look good. That's what, you know.
Okay. Any other public comment? Yes, Bill.
I just wanted everybody here to know that Habitat for Humanity had a house up in north of Cummins, and the persons that were awarded that house have given that house back. So we are looking for eligible people to apply that may be interested in acquiring a Habitat house. It's a small 3-bedroom ranch, about 1,000 square feet. We do need to put the next family or individual or couple, I mean, whoever applies and qualifies into that house at this time, or we may be required to give back this $12,000 Michigan grant that we got to help build the house, which would not be good. It's not just for families. Anybody that you have to have an income so you can show that you can make payments. But there's requirements. You can't make too much money, or they'll tell you to go to the local bank to get financing. I just ask anybody that knows of anybody or that would be interested, if they would get a hold of the Habitat for Humanity in Fairview at the Restore and fill out an application. We do need to get somebody in that house.
Thank you, Bill. Well, I think you should get ahead of Kevin.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Bob. Bob, what do you have for us?
Well, as was mentioned, the Oscoda County Connect Breakfast continues to be a success. Keep in mind, we're there on the at the Oscoda River Restaurant every second Wednesday of the month at 7:30, and then we have a topic for that month at 8 o'clock, and it's been working real well. Two initiatives that we interfaced with the schools with. The best class up in Fairview were given $10 apiece and asked them to go invest it. The EDA is all about entrepreneurism. We ended up with one individual that came back with $80 after 3 weeks, another that came back with $95, and another that came back with $900. Okay, found a unique mug of some sort and put it on eBay and flipped it, and then bought 3 more of something else and flipped those. So the class was an outstanding success of trying to show young adults that they can do something and turn a trick with just a couple of bucks. Now, some of the students went out, put gas in their car, and went home. I mean, that was the end. Okay? But there were 6 or 8 of them that took it real serious and did something. The local paper covered very nicely for us the greenhouse project that goes on at the Maya Osable schools. Jay Jackson does an outstanding job with those junior high students. We contributed some money to that project as well, and it was an outstanding success. Every student got money put into their account in the school, and we were able to distribute some cash awards on top of that. School was out at noon on that day, and those students stuck around for a picnic and a hot dog, and to see how, because Jay wouldn't release the results of the sale on the courthouse lawn until that awards banquet, if you would, and it was an outstanding success. Our 4-5-6 entrepreneur competition winner for this year, Generations Wellness, Sarah Sosha, is going to be a feature article in the Michigan Small Business Development quarterly newsletter that they do. So watch for that. It'll be in the businesses in the next couple of weeks. So Sarah is getting her due, and how that is all working out in the EDA, and the county is getting theirs for supporting entrepreneurism in the community. Michigan Economic Development Corporation has resectioned all of the state of Michigan in conjunction with the governor's, this is where we want to be, and all of these things happen. So the MEDC Region 3 includes us, it's 11 counties, and there is a regional prosperity initiative that has been launched. Anytime you can do something regionally, they are promoting it, and they are trying to help fund it. And we have moved away from being just core and the Crawford, Ogama, Oscoda, and Roscommon to something that we are calling the Moo. Okay, is going to be Ogama, Oscoda, Montmorency, and the tagline that we came up with at our January strategic planning meeting is M33, your scenic route to the bridge. We are getting a lot of support for that. We are going to host a gathering of Ogama, Oscoda, and Montmorency folks on July 23rd at the Skyline Event Center to promote that proposition and try to get the Ogama, Rose City folks and the Atlanta Hillman folks and all the way up to jump on this bandwagon to see if we can't get some of that regional prosperity grant that has already been given to NEMCOG to get those billboards on I-75 where we see appropriate, and start a legitimate regional campaign to promote M33. So that's what we've been up to.
What date was that about?
July 23rd.
That's at the
Skyline Event Center.
Skyline.
6 o'clock.
I'm having a difficult time remembering that name. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Sheriff Grace.
How'd you know? We're gearing up for the upcoming busy seasons, weekends, etc. Obviously got some events coming up this weekend. We'll be providing a little extra traffic control for. Obviously the 4th of July weekend, we're going to be very busy. I encourage everybody to get out and support all the local events. I think probably every community has at least something going on during that time, so we'll be out and about during that. Speaking of that, on the 4th, we're going to have a booth or table, probably over by the ice cream, so come get the ice cream and then maybe buy some handcrafted items that we're going to be selling in support of our Badge for a Cause walk-in August 16th. But we'll be having a booth at the on the fair, or at the courthouse lawn, probably on our side, close to the sheriff's office, probably by Joe Byler's ice cream little stand there for the Amish. So, and then the other is Luzerne. You've probably seen my ugly mug on a few containers around, and all I'll say is go Randy and go Mr. G on those. So it's for a good cause. They asked if I'd do it, and hey, what the heck. So, if it's a good pie, I'm always for having something there. So I'll bring an extra shirt because I gotta lead the parade and then probably go get a pie in the face. It seems to be running down to myself and Mr. G, and again, I'll just say go Randy Booth and go Mr. G. We'll leave it at that.
I've got a question for you. You started this.
I
These
did.
people haven't heard about it yet, but the Heritage Day, the wet sponge they want to throw at us?
I got a call on that. I didn't start any of it.
You agreed first,
we'll do. I agreed to talk to somebody about it. How was that? So. Yeah, something about wet sponges being tossed at us for charity or something. Yeah. So yeah, I hadn't heard the whole thing, but I did hear my name came up. So.
I was still, you were fully behind it.
Yeah, what are we gonna do there? Chunk pumpkins at me for the moving targets here? Huh? Okay, well, we'll do what we can.
If you go, I'll go. I'm behind you all the way. Behind you.
Yeah,
That's the operative word.
yeah, exactly.
One question, have you heard anything about what Lydia Gate proposed? Has there been any further comment on it?
I have not. I know that you folks have approved it. I talked to Joe Brio once or twice about it, and that's about the extent of what I know on it. All I would ask is that obviously, they're in charge of anything cleanup or otherwise, and not kind of obstruct any of the view, out the dispatch area. So
we did talk to him about coordinating that with you and with Joe.
Nope, I have not talked to anybody, but
Okay.
I've expressed my concerns to Joe, so I'm sure that he'll take care of anything there. So.
Very good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was told this can be fully enclosed, like a peaked roof. It'll be all enclosed. The stuff can drain. They'll keep eye on it. They'll keep it clean. It's all made out of wood. It's really looking nice, they said.
Okay,
So it won't be nothing over.
Great. Okay.
Any other public comment?
How about as a chamber this time? July 2nd, Culpeper Merriweather is going to be at the fairgrounds, another circus. Trying to do it every second year. So the circus is coming to town for July 2nd, 2 performances, 5 and I think it's 7:30. But don't quote me on that. Tickets are available at the chamber office and at the Oscoda River Restaurant. July 3rd is the big event up in Cummins. July 4th is their parade, this parade, fireworks at 33 Motorsports, and July 5th is the parade in Luzerne with fireworks. So if you like fireworks, you got them 3 nights in a row in 3 different venues, and everybody's trying to outdo each other so they get better and better, and it's working out fine. So the volunteer community is alive and well in this county.
I appreciate them not having them all on the same night.
Yep.
That's a zoo.
Thanks, Bob. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Wilson, supported by Bernard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone, for
Bill.
coming.
Right.